If you've ever tried to buy truly wide work boots, you already know the frustration. A lot of stores say they carry wide sizes, but when you actually need something like a 6E and especially a 9E, the options get incredibly thin. In fact, genuinely wide widths are still a niche in work footwear, even while the overall work boot market keeps growing. So today I want to walk you through what DT Footwear is doing with its new DT brand 6E and 9E work boot line, who it's designed for, and how to figure out whether soft toe or safety toe is the better move for your job. Let's start with the basic problem this line is trying to solve. Men with very wide feet often get pushed into a bad compromise. They size up in length just to get more width. But then the boots are too long. Your foot slides around, the safety toe doesn't sit where it should, and somehow the boot can still feel tight across the forefoot. That's uncomfortable. It can create hot spots and calluses, and in a work environment, it can even become a safety issue. DT created this in-house line with three big priorities in mind. First, accuracy and width, meaning the boot is actually built for 6E and 9E rather than stretched to pretend it is. Second, extra depth with an orthopedic mindset. So the inside volume works for real-world feet, including feet that swell. And third, job-ready durability, because none of this matters if the boot can't handle daily wear on a work site. Now, what do 6E and 9E widths actually mean in practice? A lot of people hear those letters and think it's just a tiny difference. But moving from a standard D width into the 6E range can be a major jump in usable room up front, especially in larger sizes. And 9E goes even further, which can be a game changer if you deal with significant swelling, lymphedema, or if you wear custom orthotics and need the boot to accommodate the full shape of your foot instead of squeezing it from the sides. Here's the important part. DT isn't just adding material on the upper. The goal is a wider platform overall, meaning the last, the outsole, and the structure underneath your foot are built to match the width. That matters for stability. A wider foot sitting on a too narrow base can feel unstable, and you end up fighting the boot all day. So, let's talk about the models highlighted in this line, starting with the soft toe option. The DT405 is the best-selling soft toe work boot in the DT brand lineup. It's a classic 6-inch work boot style, but designed with extra depth and a roomier toe box. That combination is exactly what a lot of wide-footed workers are looking for, especially if you're putting in long hours on concrete or uneven surfaces. The DT405 comes in multiple widths, including 6E and 9E, so you're not forced into that. Buy it longer and hope for the best approach. It's also designed with sensitive feet in mind, including people managing diabetes, while still keeping the structure you want in an everyday work boot. DT also makes the DT405 in different colors, including black and brown. And yes, that sounds like a small thing, but it's not. If you work in security facilities or a warehouse with a stricter dress code, black matters. If you're in construction or landscaping, brown often fits the look and hides dirt better. The key point is, you're not choosing between appearance and fit. The sizing and support philosophy stays the same. Now, if you do need a protective toe, DT points to the DT403, which is a safety toe work shoe. So instead of a boot profile, you're getting more of a shoe build aimed at industrial settings, warehouse work, and lighter construction where you still need toe protection. It's made with full-grain leather and built for all-day wear. And the big win here is that it's offered in the truly wide widths, including 6E and 9E. That's a bigger deal than it sounds, because safety toe designs are where wide-footed workers often suffer the most. When the width is wrong, the toe cap can become a pressure point, and you end up with rubbing, pinching, and that constant sense that you can't wait to get the shoes off. With wider sizing done the right way, you improve comfort, and you also improve safety, because the protective toe is more likely to align where it's supposed to. DT also emphasizes an insert system across these boots and shoes. Many styles include multiple heat-moldable insoles intended to help you dial in the fit. Think about that for a second. Footwear isn't just the leather and the outsole. The insole is where a lot of your comfort, alignment, and pressure relief comes from, especially if you're standing for 8 to 12 hours a day. Having multiple sets also encourages replacing them as they wear down, because support doesn't last forever when you use the footwear hard. If you need the most interior volume of the bunch, the DT504SF is the extra depth safety toe boot option. This one moves into an 8-inch boot profile and is intended for people who simply can't make standard work boots work. If you wear custom orthotics, if you use an AFO, or if you're dealing with diabetes, neuropathy, or severe swelling, extra depth can make the difference between tolerating a work shift and being miserable by lunch. The DT504SF uses softer leather for flexibility and an aggressive lug outsole for traction, which makes it more suited to outdoor or tougher industrial conditions. Some sizes may be special order, so depending on your exact size and width combination, you may be looking at a longer lead time. But for people who need this category of fit, waiting a few weeks beats settling for boots that never work. So, what really changes when you go from standard D or even a 2E into something like 6E or 9E? It's not just more space. It's space you can actually use, more room at the ball of the foot, more toe box volume, and less pressure across areas that tend to flare up in work boots like bunions, hammer toes, and sensitive joints. When the boot matches your foot, you tend to get less rubbing and fewer hot spots. And you're not stuck in that cycle of trying to break in a boot that was the wrong width from day one. Now, let's tackle one of the most important decisions: soft toe versus composite or safety toe. Soft toe boots like the DT405 usually feel more flexible up front. They're a great choice when your job doesn't require a protective toe cap and you want comfort, lighter weight, and a more natural forefoot feel. Composite or safety toe options like the DT403SF and DT504SF exist for a reason. If your workplace rules require ASTM-rated protection, you need the protective cap, end of story. Composite toes are also often lighter than steel and non-metallic, which some people prefer. The big point, especially for wide feet, is that the toe protection has to be paired with the right width, so the cap doesn't become its own problem. If you're trying to choose quickly here, are the decision points I'd keep in mind. First, check your PPE rules at work, because that may decide for you immediately. Second, think about foot sensitivity. If you've had toe injuries, diabetes-related sensitivity, or you just know you can't tolerate pressure across the forefoot, you may lean soft toe, if it's allowed. Third, consider the environment. If you're around heavy materials, forklifts, or frequent drop hazards, safety toe is usually the smarter choice. And fourth, weight matters over long shifts. Even small differences add up after thousands of steps. Before you order, measuring matters a lot more at these widths because 6E and 9E aren't common and you don't want to guess. Measure both feet, use the sizing charts, and compare carefully. And if you're between widths, DT generally recommends going wider for work boots because thickness of work socks and natural swelling during the day can change how the boots feel by hour 6 or 7. If you're buying 6E or 9E for the first time, it's also smart to reach out for guidance with measurements and your current shoe size, especially if you use orthotics, have swelling that fluctuates, or wear an AFO. Extra depth and internal volume can vary a bit by style, even within the same brand. When the boots arrive, do yourself a favor and test them indoors first, wearing the socks you actually work in. Stand, walk, and pay attention to the basics. Your toes shouldn't hit the front, your heels should feel secure, and you shouldn't feel that side-to-side pinching across the ball of the foot. And don't ignore the insert system. If the product includes adjustable or heat-moldable layers, that's part of how you get the fit right, not an afterthought. At the end of the day, the whole point of the DT brand 6E and 9E work boot line is simple. Men with big, wide feet deserve work footwear that's built for them, not footwear that forces them to compromise on safety, comfort, or durability. With options like the DT405, so for soft toe comfort, and the DT403SF and DT504SF for safety toe protection with real width, the aim is to end the never-ending boot hunt and replace it with something that actually fits your feet and your job. And one final note. Anything related to foot pain, swelling, diabetes, neuropathy, or other health conditions is personal and can change over time. If you're dealing with a medical issue, it's always a good idea to check in with a qualified healthcare professional for advice tailored to you.